What's up, YouTube? This is not my usual filming location because I was tagged in the makeup tag by Cordy. I'm where I'm doing my makeup. This is a list of prompts about books that are also in a cool way related to makeup. And I didn't know what all the things are and I don't use all the things, and so I'm not going to actually answer all the questions, but I am going to answer some of them and it's going to be fun. First thing is primer. I don't even know what that is. Instead of doing whatever the primer is, which I'm just gonna brush my hair because I definitely only now just got out of bed. The first question is, what is the first book you remember reading? Honestly, I had to go back pretty far in order to get here. There was a dinosaur counting book. I can't have been more than 4 in this memory. I used to read the dinosaur counting book and we had a song for it, so we used to sing it. It was like 1 stegosaurus sitting in the sun, 2 other kinds of saurus always on the run, 3 something something sitting on the rocks, maybe, because I know 4, which is 4 triceratops wearing purple socks. I swear this is a real thing. The foundation prompt is a book that means a lot to me. True confession, I don't actually use foundation either. One that particularly stands out is The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. That is the first book that I really have a memory of enjoying reading, made me love to read books, and I still love it to this day. I've reread it as an adult and I highly recommend it. Not only is it full of awesome puns and beautiful messages about education, but it's a really genuinely fun book to read. It's concealer. There is a prompt I can use. People actually organized right now. I have concealer. I just went to a party a couple weeks ago, months. When was the last time we were allowed to have parties? I'm just gonna fake it. Concealer, a book you wish you had never read. I'm gonna go with The Pearl by John Steinbeck, because let me tell you something, that book is shit. I know, it's a classic and whatever. First of all, I'm forever traumatized by scorpions because of this book. What kind of plot is they were poor? There was a scorpion. It stung the baby. He had to go on this sketchy adventure in order to try to save his child from dying, and in the end, he fails and the kid's eaten by a coyote. We studied this in school. Contour. Another thing I definitely use. The prompt is a book that changed your views about something. For this one I chose Plain Truth by Jodi Picoult. It kind of takes a dive into the Amish in the United States. Growing up in Israel, I didn't know anything about the Amish at all, and I don't pretend to know a lot about them now just because I read this book. What changed my views about something from this book was after I read it. I was here actually at my grandmother's house. This must have been 10 years ago. A couple friends of hers were visiting from somewhere in the world. I made some joke about how everyone hates the Jews, and they looked at me with these very serious faces and they were like, "Do you think that's true?" And all of a sudden I thought, why do I think that's true? A shift in my point of view was totally 100% related to my experience of reading Plain Truth. I read about a culture that I had never ever known anything about, and looking at the way that they sort of interacted with a world that they were kind of isolated from and didn't really understand them, and had a really deep conversation with these friends of my grandmother's about how I guess I felt a lot of anti-Semitism coming from a lot of different directions, but I didn't go out into the world and see what it looked like, and it turned out that there were people who actually didn't hate the Jews. In fact, a lot of normal people don't. It was a light bulb moment for me. Highlight, a book I can gush about. I can gush about a lot of books. Right now, I have been gushing a lot about the Raven cycle. So the Raven Boys, the Dream Thieves, Blue Lily, Lily Blue, and the Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. They're just amazing. I've gushed about it on this channel already before. All 7 of the Harry Potter books. In general, I'm kind of an all or nothing reader. I feel like if I can't gush about a book by the time I'm 2/3 into it, I'm not necessarily going to finish it. Pretty much, if I read a book and I finish it, I can gush about it. Blush. A book that makes you swoon. Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. It was a mistake thinking I could talk and do this at the same time. Let's talk. Well, I do the makeup because, like, no, that's not gonna happen. But I just love her and the way that, you know, he is like royalty, but, you know, he's really totally a normal guy. Ella is just such a great character. She's such a rebel, you know, and the magic is really awesome. And I just really, honestly, what makes me swoon about it is the love story. And there's this really passionate letter writing chain that just, no matter how many times I read it, I feel all the feels. I don't really have a book for the book you wish was real life. You know, fiction worlds are a little bit scary. I felt like if a genie is asking me what book would I like to live in, I'm gonna have to be very careful what I wish for, and I just didn't really feel safe wishing for any of the books I've ever read to be real life. I'm gonna go straight ahead to Crease. What is your guilty pleasure? Even though I'm putting on what I think is the primer. Anyway, the light one. That's what I'm doing now. So, guilty pleasure. Dead Until Dark by Charlaine Harris, which is the beginning of the Sookie Stackhouse vampire books that launched the TV series True Blood on HBO. And if you have only seen the show and you have not, in fact, read the books, that is a mistake. The books are so good, and the TV show might be fun, and it might have a lot of gore and sex and vampires, but Sookie's character on the show is nothing like she is in the books. And Sookie in the books is bright and smart and witty, and I mean, she's a psychic. It's really hard to portray that from a book in which it's her point of view to on screen. I actually don't know where the camera is right now because I actually can't see anything without my glasses on. So the next prompt is a book that shocked you, and it's the mascara prompt, but unfortunately I am so terrible at multitasking that I'm still on the eyeliner. I am going to mention The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I screamed out loud the first time I read it. I've only read this book once, and it made such an impact on me that I, to this day, remember the first line. There was a hand in the dark, and it held a knife. And I just thought, damn, that man knows how to start a book. Like, wow. Obviously, the plot twist, I just didn't see it coming. I was so shocked by it. I actually squealed and almost tossed the book across the room, but I would never do that to a book. Oh, also, that was a book that my ex lent to me and never got back. Sorry. Now I am trying to think of a book that has the best cover, and honestly, the only thing I can really, a book whose cover I just really, really loved was, here I go. See, in what world does this make sense? Did you understand what I said? Yeah. I had, of course, the American edition. I just remember on the jacket, the title was in these like raised green letters, and I just used to stare into those letters, dream about the fiction world. There was something magical about that design. I'm behind, so I'm doing mascara now, even though this prompt is for eyebrows, which is a book you picked up just because of the cover. And for this one, I'm gonna say Evermore by Alison Noel. It has a very, very pretty cover, and it has that look that just says, YA vampire romance. I remember I just wanted to read it from the moment I saw it, and I did, and I have notes in it, or maybe it's on my Goodreads. I'm like, please don't be a vampire, please don't be a vampire, please don't be a vampire, and then I'm like, thank God he's not a vampire. I was very, very pleased with that, and I loved the book, and I finished it, and then I immediately got the second one, and it was also good, but like, the second one ended things in a way that just put this giant cock block on the main romantics pairing, and I was like, fuck that. And I haven't finished the series. Eyeliner. An author you will always read, and for that one I am going to have to choose Jodi Picoult. I haven't even read that many of her books. It's just whenever I see a book by her, I'm always inclined to read it. I love the way she blurs the lines between good and evil. It's not bad guys against good guys. It's legitimately two parties in conflict that each have reasonable explanations for why they want what they want, except that those things clash. I will say that I did recently read a book by her that I was not pleased with at all. And not all of her books are amazing, but I still like her style. I like the way she writes. I love that she doesn't shy away from controversial matters. I definitely regret reading 19 Minutes. I did, in fact, pull out an entire eyebrow during it because it was so stressful for me. Also, Salem Falls. I just came away from that book thinking, why? Why would you put this message out there? I loved My Sister's Keeper, and Keeping Faith and Plain Truth, as mentioned before, was amazing. And I feel like there's another one that's like the golden that I'm not thinking of, and I can't remember what it is. Oh, of course, the gay one. Hello, Sing You Home. Wow, beautiful. Awesome. I have quotes from that book on my wall. For the inner eye thing, which I definitely don't do, I'm doing the Crease now, which was supposed to be the guilty pleasure one. This was a book that surprised you, that I didn't expect to love this much. I'm gonna, first of all, mention the Raven Cycle again, because when I read the first book, I didn't really expect to be so in love with it the way that I am now. I kind of was by the end of book one, but certainly not halfway through book one. Also, The Hunger Games. I worked in a bookstore when I read this, mostly so I could sell it, because that's when it was out. The way people described it was like, yeah, it's about teenagers killing each other, and I was like, I am not gonna be interested in that. But man, Suzanne Collins is a talented prose writer. Blew me away. The sequels were kind of hard for me, but the first one had my heart. Given that I've already rebelled in almost every single prompt in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and add my own. And that is a nail polish prompt. What is a book that was outside, you kind of branched outside of the usual genres that you read, and you really enjoyed it? For me, that book is Happy Accidents by Jane Lynch. It's basically her memoir, and I don't ever read memoirs, but I loved that book so much. I felt like she had so much wisdom to impart, and I really related to a lot of the things she said, a lot of the things she struggled with, where she talks about trying to be kind and gentle with her words. And there was this one quote that I wrote it on my window. I had these markers that you could just write stuff on the window, and the quote is, I figured I could be right or I could be kind, so I chose to be kind. And that just really stuck with me. I just wanted to let you know what I'm putting on. This is a matte teal called Rise and Shine, and on top of that I am putting Mermaid Magic. It's really pretty combination. It's like, you see, this is kind of a little bit weak on its own, but with this on the bottom, it's like a teal holographic kind of, look at me, I have mermaid nails. So that's my makeup tag, and I'm gonna tag Meadow, Elizabeth, Becca, who I just met last week, and of course you, if you need an excuse to make a new video, because this is an awesome tag. So bring it! All the questions are going to be in the description below, and please don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe, come to my live writing sprints on Monday nights at 8:30 EST so we can be productive and goof off together. So